Last year, Ben Young and his BMW managed to wrestle the Canadian Superbike Championship away from the 13-time title holder Jordan Zoke. Now, heading into his second year as Kawasaki team leader for 2020, can Zoke reclaim his crown? Hello everyone and welcome to Calabogie Motorsport Park as the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers proudly present Race 1 of the 2020 Csbk Series. Brought to you by Suzuki, Way of Life, Yamaha, Revs Your Heart, and BMW Motorrad, the ultimate ride.
Very, very hot conditions here at Calabogie. We have real summer this year in Canada. We haven't had much national road racing, but we've had some hot weather.
Colin, it is so great to be behind the mic once more and back at the racetrack. Things were in doubt for 2020, but you pulled it out of the hat, mister.
Well, we had a hurry-up schedule today. We've had practice and qualifying. We're looking at the grid, and of course we have two Superbike races in one day, which has happened before, but is not typical. At the front, things fairly typical, although there's one name there that's a little bit of a surprise. Last time we saw Samuel Garant, he was winning at Motorsports as an amateur at the end of last year. Now he's on the front row and showed very well throughout practice and qualifying on one of the more elderly BMWs on the grid.
Yeah, he dominated in the amateur ranks. Take note also, Trevor Daly starting from row 2. He got caught out on this. He thought it was a 4-3 start. It's a 3-2 start, and Daly will have to start from row 2 as a result of that.
Michael Leon in the middle, Jordan Zoke shockingly on pole with that Kawasaki in his second year leading the Kawasaki program. We're waiting for all the lights to go out.
They're on now. When those lights go off, the clutches will come out. That has happened. Zoke gets a very good launch, as does Garant from the outside. Here they go, steaming down into a long left-hand turn they call number 1.
And that's Garant in second. I believe it's Michael Leon in third. I think it was Jeff Williams in fifth. So that would suggest, yes, we're on board with Trevor Daly in fourth position. And of course, right now, everybody's just trying to feel the tires under them. Very strange situation. This is our first race of the year in July. Also, the first race of the day. Almost never is Superbike the first race. So lots of things to figure out. And I assume people will be a little bit cautious to start.
Colin, you mentioned the temperature here. Very, very warm here in Northern Ontario. And track conditions, of course, the track's in excellent condition, but it's hot.
Speaking of hot, holy mackerel, Jordan Zoke, that is a shocking lead. We're a third of the way into the first lap here at Calabogie, and we haven't had a chance to talk about the track. This is a venue that the riders love. We haven't had a full national here since 2015. Jordan Zoke, of course, won a nail-biter from Jody Christie 5 years ago as we head into my favorite part of the track with our leader, Jordan Zoke, on that Kawasaki ZX-10R Ninja.
Reflecting back to 2015, Jody Christie mounted on a Honda at that point in time, set the lap record here. And Jordan Zoke is going for a ride. You know, halfway through this summer when we thought we weren't going to have a series, Colin and I had predicted that if we ever get on racetrack again, Zoke's going to beat him up, and he's doing it.
And let's have a look at that group racing for second. Michael Leon has quickly moved up to second on the new BMW. Daly is in there too. Garant, who is proving not to be a flash in the pan from qualifying when everybody was a little surprised to see him that far up. But I think worth mentioning is Tremblay, who's at the back of that battle for second on a Kawasaki 636. Amazing effort from a rider who we know is capable of running at the front in Superbike.
Well, Tremblay riding, of course, for the Turcotte Performance team. That team has consistently brought out fine hardware to the racetrack. In fact, they won Team of the Year award from 2019, and the godfather of Quebec racers, Sébastien Tremblay, has been at the forefront of that team.
Here we are starting lap 2. We're on board with Daly. You see that bit of an exciting moment for Garant there on his older BMW, and Daly is starting to shop the lines. When you see reversing the line of the guy ahead, that means you want to make the pass. Daly, I think, hopes he's got just a little bit of power on Garant, and it looks, didn't quite make it.
Not quite. Garant, of course, is a pro rookie, but remember also that Garant has got a lot of lap times at this race course, and that may count for a lot. In fact, it is counting for a lot right now.
Zoke is not a track day regular at any track. Leon teaches here at this venue for the Pro 6 group. Garant does a lot of schools here, a lot of track days.
And Tremblay as well.
Yeah, and Daly, very little time on this track. So quite a range of riding experiences, and this is a place where a little more experience can help. Now we're on board with Jeff Williams, Williams, briefly, brand new BMW, and he's at the back of that group with Tremblay trying to find a pass.
Daly's found his way through this time. Daly breaking into second spot, or has he? Garand challenging him once more, and now Williams is right on the back wheel of Garand.
And let's have a look at that one again. And I think what happened there is Garand was taking more of a classic line, which is fine most of the time, but it doesn't always work so well if someone good is right behind you. So here Garand is really on the line, and Daly has just been a little bit brave. Now watch, Garand tries to tuck back underneath and immediately take advantage. Doesn't quite have the road speed, but nice move by Daly, aggressive but not risky. And you can see Garand, maybe an issue there with his traction control not being completely set up.
There's Williams on the move. Williams has gathered up Garand. Williams has moved into third spot. Jeff Williams on the number 7 machine, and now Garand being challenged from behind by Tremblay.
So Kawasaki 636 in the mix, and it isn't just a flash in the pan from a good start now. Good effort by Tremblay. And there we have 2nd through 6th right together battling for position, and Jordan's just in sight ahead.
Zoke with that healthy lead. We'll be right back as the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers presents CSBK 2020. Welcome back to Calabogie Motorsports Park as the IBEW presents CSBK National Superbike Championships for 2020.
Terrific battle here for second place in our series opener at Calabogie, and we've seen Michael Leon hold the point, and for sure Trevor Daly is searching out that second spot. I think everyone's concern is, well, Zoke is within view and theoretically could be caught. I think he's sitting on this one. Everybody's concerned about tires and what's going to happen because of the extreme heat today. And there you can see.
Look at this lead. This is unbelievable. There goes Leon in second spot. There now is Daly in third. Williams is in fourth. Garand continues to hold on, but I don't know. He seems to be slipping a bit, Colin.
Yeah, Garand looks like he's hanging on by his fingernails. And the interesting thing there is, of course, Tremblay on a bike with slightly less power, obviously a 636 against a 1000, but here probably you can see it very clearly in this part of the track how you're leaned over on the side of the tire for so much of the lap. That's why Tremblay is able, through his riding, to make the difference.
Williams is not done here, Colin. I'm sorry for jumping in, but Colin, Williams is not done. He is right on the back wheel now of Daly, and I believe he's gone hunting. He's looking towards the front.
And behind Garand and Tremblay is Sandy Noche, who's actually one of the promoters of this event, is making his Pro Superbike debut at the, I don't want to say his tender age, but in his 40s.
On the outside with Jeff Williams. On the inside is Trevor Daly. He takes the inside line and retains that third place position. Here comes Williams. He's got him. He moved on the inside of him, and he has captured third spot. He is now in behind Leon.
Let's have a replay of that, and you can see Williams has set this one up. He knows that could work. He's very close to the inside of the track here, but what's cool is when he makes the move work, he drifts back and picks up the line, and yeah, Trevor wasn't leaving the door open, and it's not Trevor's job to make it easy. And there you can see Williams doing that Grand Prix swoop over to the pit wall that he likes to do here at Calabogie.
What is the idea behind that, Colin?
I can never tell because it's a longer distance, pardon me. I think it's just a scarier guy on the pit wall with the pit board.
Well, it certainly doesn't improve his line going into one. That's a certainty. On board now with Trevor Daly as we hunt down Jeff Williams, who in turn is all over Michael Leon. Meanwhile, Mr. Zoke is but a dot in the distance.
Well, we know how Trevor's mind works, and he can still just see Zoke. So in his mind, somehow there's a way to move them ahead, and he'd like to be the guy doing the movie. There you see Leon using really classic wide lines in this part of the track. And again, this shot where we come back towards the pits on another long straightaway really gives you an idea of Jordan's lead. It's not insurmountable, but my concern is Jordan's managing this lead. He is sitting on it to make life easy on his tires as that battle for second goes through camera. And there's Tremblay is now in front of Garand. And in fact, Noche looked like he was on top of Garand.
I believe Garand slipped all the way back to 7th spot. So indeed, he was brilliant in qualifying. And I think you talked about it earlier, Colin, the fact that he has not raced with these big boys before. So this is a new game for Samuel Garand.
I don't think he's raced at this track, and he knows the track. Obviously, his lines are terrific, but it's a different thing. And obviously, there's some creative riding in a good way going on here. And being with the big boys is a challenge.
As Williams again.
Our two brand new 2020 BMWs, both in their race debut, are going at it hard for second place. Of course, missing from this discussion is the potential other 2020 BMW, Ben Young, who's opted to sit out this round.
onto the front straightaway. We watch the action now as Williams continues to hunt Leon down in towards turn number 1. Here comes Zoke right towards us. You can see the lead he's got, and he continues to nurse that column. He hasn't extended it, but he's keeping it safe.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what this lap looks like, because they have caught him a little bit, but he would have just seen that on his board. And I think here they're able to get the information up a little quicker than at some of our shorter tracks. Remember, this lap at over 2 minutes is by far the longest lap on the tour. This track is almost all the other tracks joined together, packed into one lap. It's just crazy how much there is to do and how much to learn. Yeah, but just understand, Leon spent a lot of time here. That actually is a really good line. It does leave the door open for some crazy guy like Jam and Jeff Williams.
Exactly. Talk about an invitation to doormats there, and it says welcome.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff minds if the door's locked and he has to climb in the transom. He's going to give it a crack one way or the other. And, of course, we want to see what Daly has here. He's right in this part of the discussion. He was second briefly. That GSXR has had considerable updates, including a new chassis. We know that Trevor's put a huge amount of effort in, and he's involved in several other Suzuki programs, so he's becoming steadily more knowledgeable with the machinery. He's in fourth right now, but definitely the top 3 is everyone's goal, because that's the podium, and Trevor is not going to settle for fourth for sure.
No, he won't be happy with that at all. He's got that ride with M4 Suzuki, and a second year on board with Suzuki Canada, and doing a splendid job in the off-season on their behalf, as we watch Williams starting to come back in on Leon as they head into the bowl once more. Here we are on board the number 7 Williams Paving sponsored BMW S1000RR, and we're looking at that Royal Distributing sponsored BMW of Michael Leon. He's been with that company for over 12 years now, and a solid sponsorship package for Michael Leon. We'll be right back to Calabogie Motorsports Park as the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers presents CSBK 2020. Welcome back as we begin lap number 9 as IBEW presents CSBK for 2020. On board with Jordan Zoke in this footage. This morning we had a chance to chat to the 13-time champion about the late start to this season.
Under these circumstances, the COVID and everything going on, I think this is a very, very positive thing out of something negative for our sport here in Canada. It's also important that we do something instead of nothing. Because as soon as something's gone, you realize, hey, maybe I don't need that. And we don't want to lose all the hard work we've put in the last few years. So I think it's an extremely positive thing that we're here in a time where we need that.
Back to our live race action here at Calabogie, and we're getting deep into it. It's time to cook up a plan, and of course, the issue with cooking up a plan is you may have already cooked your tires, Frank, and therefore not able to execute any kind of plan except hang on for dear life as we watch Trevor Daly try to decide what to do, and you can see Leon sliding on there on his BMW.
3 riders fighting for 2 spots on the podium is basically what we're looking at now. Remember, of course, that Jordan Zoke on a ride by himself, and going for a ride right now is Trevor Daly as he has moved into 3rd spot. What a beautiful pass that was. He now has Jeff Williams in his sights. Here's a shot of Zoke coming off. We'll pick up the battle between Williams and Daly. There we are.
And Zoke has pulled further ahead, so definitely he got the pit board telling him. And here's Daly. He's not settling in 3rd. He's going to have a try with Jeff, but Jeff runs it in deep into one of the trickiest corners in Canada.
Daly's doing the jam, and now Daly had the inside line there, but he gets right in the wheel tracks of Williams now, coming out of these that corner there. Now onto the straightaway they go, and if he can pick up some soft air there, he may find himself in 2nd spot, and that's exactly what he has in mind.
And there we can see in 4th is Leon, and he's not going to be happy about that. And Tremblay, a very good 5th, and you can bet he's happy with that.
Tremblay has closed up serious distance in the last lap, Colin. At the previous shot going down into turn 1, he was a very distant 5th spot, but now he is very much closer.
Jeff doing a little defending there in our tightest turn, and you can see he's used to battling on these super bikes because he knows how to put the bike where the guy behind would most like to be.
He pulled out some distance there on the exit of turn 4 left, as they call it. Now we're into a series of 4 right-hand turns and then a left-hander that'll bring them out onto the front straightaway. Daly closing up at the exit of that corner, but again, Jeff pulling away as they now up onto the front straightaway once more, and Tremblay is now a part of this conversation, Colin.
And we continue to see Zoke in the shots, which means they have him as a motivator in the distance, but I do believe Jordan is controlling the pace, not pushing the tires too hard. And right at the back of that shot is Tremblay on that Kawasaki 636 Ninja, doing an unbelievable unbelievable job. We expect that from him here, but nonetheless, he is really showing what he's capable at a demanding track.
Where Tremblay, I believe, is going to be at a disadvantage on this racetrack is that straightaway. You've ridden this track, you know it. It's 2,000 foot long, and that's where 200 horsepower comes in handy.
Well, there's no shortage of straights here. There's a lot going on. It's a track that's basically not a lot of rest. It's fun because it flows so nicely, and there you can see they've actually made up ground in that last lap. Not enough to be threatening to Zoke, but Zoke's board will reflect that they're a little closer than they have been, and there you can see that Trevor's trying to find a way by, and he's kind of doing the math backwards from what Jeff's doing, but Jeff is riding defensively in a smart way. Don't forget, Jeff has been racing Superbikes at the front of our series for well over 20 years. He's ridden everything.
Well, Zoke has gone for a ride. That lead now has been further extended, I'm sure. Zoke definitely in total control of this race at this moment. Daly still running in third spot, looking for an opportunity. Meanwhile, Leon back in fourth spot now, has a challenger coming from the back.
On board again with Trevor, who unfortunately has taken a stone in our camera, which makes it slightly, it looks like Trevor's racing in a tunnel compared to everyone else. That is not an accurate portrayal.
Look at Daly's move here now as he moves on Williams. Has he got it done? It looks like he does. He does. Trevor Daly is up into second spot now.
And that was a little less scary than Jeff's similar pass on Leon earlier. And let's go to the replay of that. You can see that Trevor's setting it up here, and he's trying to figure out how far out Jeff's going to swing. Now, Jeff has used this line right on the very edge of the track. Trevor, and it's smart here, this is a pro move. He doesn't have to get much past Jeff because he can pick up the line and take over control of his position on the track so he doesn't get in crazy deep. And watch here, this allows him to get right back to where he should be, so he's not holding them up and losing time. And of course, I'm sure right now in Trevor's mind, let's go after the leader.
Well, he may be after the leader, but he's got some work to do. We'll be right back from Calabogie Motorsports Park. Portions of this national championship event have been presented by Kawasaki, Pro 6 Cycle, MotorcycleCourse.com, and our official charity, Revs for Rent.
2 laps to go, and the battle for second continues. I do not think they're going to get to our leader, Zoke, who has been oh so smart about management in this particular event, but the race for second is pretty much wide open as we go on board with Jeff Williams having a good look at that GSXR 1000 of Trevor Daly with just about another 3,800 turns left to go before this is over, Frank.
Well, I'm sure Trevor Daly is very happy to have that Suzuki in second spot right now, Colin, but as a racer, I don't think I'd want to be in position to have Jeff Williams behind me in the last 2 laps of the race.
Here we are out of the far north section of the track, heading back towards the pits, and that is Jordan Zoke with what I still consider a safe lead, and Trevor, a little bit of pressure for third.
Great race going on now there as Leon now has moved onto the inside of Williams, and he has retaken that position, so now Leon is in a podium position.
Let's go back and see that again, and Leon just gets a slightly better drive, and I think decides that I can get about even on the brakes, and again, a nice solid pro move. You don't have to go way past, but Leon is way offline here, so I bet it was pretty exciting for a minute.
Picking up on Daly now as they come in towards the bull with Michael Leon running in third spot, Jeff Williams in fourth, and look who's back in the conversation once more is that Turcotte Performance 636 Kawasaki Colin. He's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, and all it takes is a couple of moments, a couple of passes in front where they lose a tenth or two, and Tremblay is right back. The question is, does he have anything to really make a pass work as we start our last lap? Because he is down about 60 horsepower, but still an awesome effort, and it just shows how good he is on this track, and he's extremely difficult. And of course, we keep saying it, how very, very hot it is, and so far beyond the norm in terms of Canadian racetracks.
We're on board right now with Jeff Williams on the Williams Paving sponsored BMW S1000RR. We are chasing an equally equipped rider, Michael Leon, also on a brand new BMW, and those 2 BMWs are in chase of the Suzuki in second spot and the Kawasaki that's running way up front.
Yeah, the Canada General Warranty Kawasaki of Zoke. He has been caught a little bit, and it's been yo-yoing back and forth, but he knows he has less than a lap, so he can afford to be a little bit conservative. But again, it's a super motivator for this battle for second because they can still see him.
What happened to Williams? Williams was, well, he's caught back up now, but Williams was threatening for second spot. In fact, he was running in second spot for quite some time. But Daly on the M4 exhaust-sponsored Suzuki, now we're on board with him just now as we go through this left-hander. His knee just grazing off the surface. Straightens it up now. Handful of horsepower. Bring us home, Colin.
Yeah, and there we can see, man, Leon had a really good stab at it, and I think Trevor might have just caught him in the corner of his eye, so he knew to close the door there. You can see Michael's trying to reverse the lines to see if there's an opening, and if he doesn't have it right now, I don't think he has it.
No way. Now onto the front straightaway. The checkered flag is beckoning. Zoke has already seen it as these right there's Zoke now getting it, and the three-way dash for the finish. And that's it. It's done.
Less than a second spread over second, third, and fourth. So that was an entertaining battle. Can't say enough about Tremblay in fifth. Sandy Noche, not a bad Superbike debut for a guy in his 40s. Garant learned a lot on his way to a good spot from Babbitt, Bernhardt, and Matthews, the last two on Yamaha R1s.
But this day belongs to Jordan Zoke. The 13-time Canadian Superbike champion has simply beat them up here at Calabogie Motorsport Park.
I got a good start and put in a killer first lap, which gave me a shocking bit of a lead just from the first lap. Put my head down and really pushed on fresh tires. Had a couple little moments on that first lap, but it paid off because then I could just pick away and manage the gap at that point. It's the first race of the year. We haven't raced in, I don't know, it feels like a year almost now, 11 months. So I wanted to kind of settle in and get my head around some things out there, and just tried to really be patient. It's really hot, and the tires were fantastic from Dunlop, but man, they were moving around in this heat. They were really squirrely out there, but it was the same for everybody. It's just the track temperature is so hot today, and so it was just about being consistent and not doing anything silly. We have Canada General Warranty now on board for this year. Blackfoot, Kawasaki, really staying behind us through the whole thing, and Dunlop and Sandy trying to really put this all together for us here. Everybody's still going forward, and we're excited to be a part of it.
It was definitely entertaining. Jeff, Mike, and I were having a good battle there, and it's kind of fun watching those guys kind of go at it in front of me, and definitely were showing me where I was a little bit stronger. So I knew, this is going to be a race with the heat and stuff. It was going to come down to the end and keeping it together. And watching Jordan get away was a little bit frustrating. So I tried a bunch of times to kind of get by early, and tire was working pretty hard. So kind of rockered up. Probably lap 3, lap 4 to conserve a little bit for later on for sure. Just make it a little bit easier for me to ride again. You can go and use a bunch of energy in that race and have nothing left for this afternoon, and definitely that was playing a little bit with my decision making for sure.
A little bit disappointed at the pace. I could see on my lap timer that I was about a second off of the qualifying times, and Jordan just got a jackrabbit start and broke away. I was able to sort of maintain it, and I could see my pit board, being shown 0. I know there was a gang behind me. So when I realized I couldn't brake, I tried to just maintain the same pace to try to save my tire. And I don't think the strategy worked too well because I still had grip at the end, but not as much. But it was a fun race.
Well, that wraps it up from Calabogie Motorsport Park and round 1 of the 2020 CSBK Superbike Series. On behalf of the entire CSBK crew, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time for race number 2.